to the Rock Newman Show.
It's the Rock Newman Show. Just prior to going to the next segment of our show, which will include Ayanna Gregory, who is in studio with me. Ayanna is the youngest daughter of Dick and Lillian Gregory, and she is an incredible talent. She is a poet, she is a songstress, she is an actress, she has a one-woman play that I have seen and was just simply blown away. It is a play 100% worthy of Broadway. We'll see what happens. Ayanna Gregory is in studio. Thank you so much, Ayana. While we wait here for Terry, we'll see if we can raise up Terry Williams on the phone. Ayana, we understand that there was some difficulty that none of us could quite control, and that was your dad being on a flight, sitting on a plane that got seriously delayed. Dick Gregory today, folks, is receiving the John Brown Award in Lake Placid, New York. Took a flight from Washington, D.C., and was supposed to have been on the ground long ago.
Yes.
And now with that plane, he was sat on that plane for a long, long time. That plane is seriously delayed. It won't prevent him from getting his award, because actually that was later, but I understand it looks very difficult that we're going to get him here in this hour, but thank God we have you here in studio.
Thank you.
And we also are going to get your beautiful mother.
Yes.
Your beautiful mother, who, when I told her about coming on, that we wanted her to come on the show today, she almost died.
Yeah, she almost did.
I could hear it over the phone.
She was horrible.
I don't know if I want to do that.
Horrible.
You know, her husband has been out there and belonged not just to you all as a family, but to the world, been in the limelight, been in the spotlight for so long. And Mom just kind of has been there at home, holding it down.
That's
I can tell you that from becoming friends with your dad in the early 70s, always it was the anchor Lillian that you had to reach order that wherever Dick Gregory might have been in the world, she was managing that process. And yesterday when we were talking, a couple of days ago when we were talking about you guys coming on, she had just copious notes saying, okay, they're going to pick you up, you're going to land at this time, they're going to pick you up at this time, it's going to take you from Albany to Lake Placid, that's 2 hours and 12 minutes, 2 hours and 12 minute drive, and she just holds it down like that. I love that lady. I want to give her just my own round of applause to Lillian Gregory.
My mama.
That's right. Now, tell us about, you performed here in Washington, D.C. last night. I understand Greg was there. Your dad was there.
Yes.
Tell us about your one-woman play. What's it all about? What you try to communicate with that piece of art, and what inspired you to do so?
Okay. Well, it is an autobiographical journey, a very intimate journey into the life of my father, my mother, and the 10 children that much of the world doesn't know about. Everybody knows the public Dick Gregory. They know his accomplishments. I thought it was important that, two things. I thought it was important that they know the family side, my mother's presence, as well as how we feel about him. He gets awards all over the world all the time, but I think it was important that his children acknowledged him. He said something very interesting that I had never thought about. He said, Malcolm and Martin never had the opportunity to hear their children talk about them. So he appreciates the fact that we are now old enough to finally get it. So it began with the fact that I realized we hadn't really properly archived the family story. So I began, as the baby girl, sometimes I wait for other people to do everything for me. And one day I said, if I don't do it, it might not get done.
Yeah.
And so I began to call my brothers and sisters around the country and write stories down and cross-reference and talk to my mama and talk to Dad about our family story. And so it came from an original show called Growing Up Gregory, which was just a really fun story about what it was like, growing up, as the children of this health guru and activist, and a man who was moving so fast at the speed of light that things were changing in our household every day. So it was like, finally being able to talk publicly about things that we would never have talked about before. Hiding the chicken and the Skittles when Daddy left, and we weren't allowed to watch television. So being able to tell funny stories, like we had a black and white television. It was about 4 inches by 4 inches that we would break out when Daddy was gone.
So he one of his house rules was he didn't allow you guys to watch
television, no meat, no dairy products, no ears pierced, no perms, no haircuts.
All natural.
All natural. And we were on a 300-acre piece of land in Plymouth, Massachusetts. So it was just a very unusual, very unique upbringing. We didn't really have peers to relate to. So, this was a story that up until now just really wasn't even intended to be told.
Well, let me ask you this. So going back to you had that 4-inch TV that you would break out. Now, would just you and the other siblings break it out, or Mom was kind of okay with that? Or
Mom was a little lenient. She would kind of bend a little bit, and so we would break out that television. I tell this funny story because, I always say, we were still revolutionaries. We would have these red, black, and green stools. I said we might have been watching Little House on the Prairie, but we were sitting on them red, black, and green stools with afros. And the television was black and white. We lived in the woods, so we only got 3 channels: NBC, CBS, and ABC. And other kinds of stories that the rest of America, and particularly Black America, can relate to, we couldn't. When I would hear people say, "Oh, remember that episode on Good Times when JJ had the pink shirt on?"
And Soul Train.
And Soul Train.
Yeah.
We didn't see pink. We saw gray. And it took my brother 6 years to figure out that the Incredible Hulk was green. And it's like things like that, you can't make that up. That was real, Beyonce, So it was just, who do you tell that to? How do you relate, to everybody else who's growing up on typical America, on Scooby-Doo, especially in among my peers who are all white, they growing up on Scooby-Doo, Robitussin, and Wonder Bread. We growing up on, Cayenne Pepper, Echinacea, and Black Power. Right. So how do you fit all that into your world as a child?
Yeah. How did you fit all that into the world as a child?
I think there were times where it was confusing, especially because, he was in the midst of so much internationally. And as a child, you're hearing things, the phones are tapped. But as a child, what does that really mean? As a child, you answer the phone and sometimes there are death threats against your father. But what does that really mean? The beauty of my parents is that they were able to make light of things that were very serious. And they did that because they understood that if they did not show fear, that we would not be afraid. Okay. And so it was just that balance. And Mama had so much to do with that balance. She protected us. When news cameras would want to come and interview the family, she, for the most part, would keep them away from us. She didn't want any part of it. She just was very, very protective.
And we're going to take a break here, but when I come back, I'm going to want to talk about the play, and there's such a poignant moment in your one-woman play where I think you share what was this time a fear that you all had, that one of your sisters had.
Crossing the bridge.
When we come back from crossing this commercial break, we're going to come back and talk about crossing the bridge.
All right.
In the Dick Gregory family, along with Ayana and Lillian Gregory, here on the Rock Newman Show at We Act Radio, 1480 AM, and seen around the world at rocknewmanshow.com. See you back in just one moment.
We'll find out when the discussion continues after this on The Rock Newman Show. You're listening to We Act Radio, WPWC 1480 AM. Visit us online at weactradio.com.
My baby drives a pro handcuff.
The We
weekend is here, and no matter what the weather's like outside, you'll find the deals inside here in the beautiful showroom of the all-new Pohanka Hyundai in Capitol Heights during their giant Markdown Madness sale.
Smart shoppers know that every new Hyundai in Pohanka comes with Hyundai Assurance and America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. But why don't you tell them about the Markdown sale, Joe?
I'll be happy to, Kim. Folks, shop around on the web, and you'll see lease payments on a new 2013 Elantra GLS at $179 a month. Today at Pohanka Hyundai, $99 a month. That's right, a $99 payment on a brand new Elantra.
And $89 a month on a new 2013 Accent GLS Automatic. How do they do it, Joe?
It must be the volume, Kim. A brand new building, hundreds of new Hyundais, and Pohanka's low payment and easy credit programs are designed to get everybody driving. But you have to get here today. Rush to the giant Markdown Madness sale at exit 13 off the Capitol Beltway.
Pohanka Hyundai, king of the Beltway. All financing for a limited term on approved HMF credit.
My baby drives a Pohanka.
Good God! I gotta ask you, what we need? Soul food. Henry Soul Food. No, we need it. Soul Food. Henry Soul Food. No, I like it. Soul Food. Henry Soul Food. No, we need it. Soul Food. Henry Soul Food. Hit me.
Home of the sweet potato pie. Even the keenest taste buds will tell you the best food on the planet. Large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. So get to Henry's at 5431 Indian Head Highway, Oxon Hill, Maryland, or give us a call at 301-749-6856.
Soul food. Henry Soul Food. What we need? Soul food. Henry Soul Food.
Friends, David Schuster here, and all of us at We Act Radio are so proud of our neighbors here in Southeast D.C., especially one of our partners, The Ark. The Ark is at 1901 Mississippi Avenue Southeast. It's the home to some of Washington's best, including the Washington Ballet, the Levine School of Music, Boys and Girls Club, and the Children's Health Project. All provide a number of programs and services within the very same facility. The Ark is also home to the Ark Theater, the only theater east of the river, which hosts a variety of dance, music, and theatrical shows each year. Almost everything you could want is at the Ark, so stop by and see them. The Ark, 1901 Mississippi Avenue in Southeast. For more information, visit the Ark's website, www.thearkdc.org, or call 202-889-5901. The Ark, part of Southeast D.C.
Real talk, real issues, real life.
I got a new sheriff in town.
We now return to the Rock Newman Show.
Studio with me, Ayanna Gregory, and we were talking just when we went to break there. When I saw the play, which is just fascinating, it is funny, it'll make you cry, it will make you never turn your head, not 1 second that you grace that stage. It is a fabulous play, folks. If you hear about this play playing in your neighborhood, I'm telling you right now, go, whether it's in your neighborhood or somebody else's neighborhood, go far to see this. You will be, it is an extraordinary historical piece. It's an extraordinary entertainment piece, and it was something that you will thoroughly enjoy. And I would encourage those that are listening, those that are watching, literally around the world, when you go, take someone young with you. They need to hear what Ayanna Gregory provides for you in her one-woman show. Ayana, we were talking about the fear that you portray and express. That was one of your older sisters had that fear. But in the play, it's just so fascinating how you sort of take it from her, internalize it, and then you bring it to life on stage. Tell us about Crossing the Bridge.
Okay, I will. I want to just first say that I will be performing this play for the Black Theater Festival, which is from June 21st to through the 30th. So I'll be performing it during one of those days. So for those who are in town or planning to be in town.
Black Film Festival here in D.C.?
In D.C., in Washington, D.C.
And what are those dates again?
Well, June 21st through the 30th are the dates of the festival, somewhere in there. And so you can, probably in the next week, it'll be up on the schedule if you go onto the website of the...
Folks, keep a lookout for that. Keep a lookout for that. You want to see this play. Okay.
So it's interesting because before I told the story about crossing the bridge, there was a story of my two oldest sisters, Lynn and Michelle, who at 3 and 5 years old were thrown in a paddy wagon and went to jail. And my sister said that when she saw the guns pointed, she began to cry, and she looked at my mom and said, "Mommy, are we in trouble?" And Mama said, "No, we're not. Everything gonna be okay." And so she's looking at my mom for that gauge, like, what's the climate? So fast forward to the bridge. So now we're talking about teenagers. My sisters, Paula and Stephanie, they were 13 and 14. They were in Greenwood, Mississippi. And, you're young, you're healthy, and so things of a serious nature, they understood enough. They were teenagers now, so they knew a little bit about what they were doing. And they were young and youthful and carried that energy. And so, first they talked about how far they had to walk and how tired they became. It was fun initially, and they walking and joking with each other. And then it becomes a little more serious as they realize, wow, we are tired now, and we're walking alongside elders with canes, and babies who don't even understand why they're here, but yet they're here. And so they said there was just a little, these were track runners.
Can I impose on you?
Yes.
And ask you to go into character?
Okay. So, we're down in Greenwood, Mississippi. And we brought with us one of our white friends who wanted to see what the movement looked like. It was me and Paula. And we there marching, and we young, 13, 14, having a ball. And we kept marching. And I'm telling you, right by around mile 50, his 13-year-old bones started to ache. I was so tired, and it was hot. Every few minutes, every few miles that we would walk, there was these trucks that would come by with lemonade, and there'd be these little pieces of wood swimming around on top, and we didn't care. We drank every drip drop. So we begin to approach this bridge, and my father walks around to us, and he looks at me and he says, "Stephanie, Paula, we getting ready to cross that bridge, crossing state lines. I want y'all to pay attention and stay close." Now, what my father didn't tell us is that on that bridge, we would be met with armed guards, armed soldiers with guns pointed this way, and we were being asked to walk this way. I said, "Oh, hell no. I'm not walking over that bridge." So I'm backing up, and the line is pushing me forward. I'm backing up, and the line keeps pushing me forward. And I said, "I ain't going over that bridge. I ain't going over the bridge." My father come around, and he jumped in my face, and he said, "Stephanie, you better get that scared look off your face. Fear and God do not occupy the same space. You're going to cross this bridge, and there is no other option." And at that point, I just felt really hot, and it got really real for me because I understood that they don't spare kids in this movement, and I've seen what they do to the children. And there was this old grandmother who, she grabbed my arm, and she just started singing in my ear and walking with me. And I closed my eyes because I didn't want to die with my eyes open. And she started singing. She said, "Come on, baby, just walk with Grandma." She said, "Oh, freedom, oh, freedom, oh, freedom over me. And And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Ain't gonna let nobody turn us around, turn us around, turn us around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn us around. We gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching down that freedom lane, marching down that freedom lane, marching down that freedom lane. She just singing in my ear, and she just walking with me, walk with Grandma. And I'm just crying, but I know my feet are moving because I can feel my feet crossing the bridge. And we get to the other side. And I realized I wasn't scared anymore to die. That I had faced death, not because I wanted to die, but because I wanted to live. And I knew in that moment who I was born to be. I knew how big I was. With no gun in my hand and no drum, no bombs to drop, I knew that I was dropping something so big. I knew that I was a magic maker. I knew that this little girl was a shapeshifter, a healer. Yeah.
My God. Woo! My God. Let me tell you something. This is the Rock Newman Show. This is what you get on the Rock Newman Show right here. And then you can go up and down the dial. You go up and down the dial, and I'm telling you, you don't get this. And am I proud? You damn right I'm proud. Because that was strong, and that was powerful. We'll be back in a moment. I'll be up here tonight.
The Rock Newman Show will be back after this.
Hey, this is Leprechaun Tim Pohanka from Pohanka Nissan and Pohanka Hyundai. It's hard to be down on your luck when you're Virginia's first choice for new Nissan and Hyundais, but I need to sell 60 cars this week. Right now, I'll pay you big bucks for your good luck. Bring down any good luck charm you've got, and based on the sale price of the car you choose, I'll give you up to $4,777 off any nicer, newer car this week. Today, your lucky penny is worth plenty, up to $4,777 off any nicer, newer car you want. Stop moping and hoping you'll get approved. With my For the People credit approval process, the banks are looking to get lucky and lend to you, even if you've been turned down before. Bring me any good luck charm and I'll give you up to $4,777 off any nicer, newer car today. Hurry, once I get rid of 60 cars, the luck runs out. All offers require bank approval, so call us at 1-800-POHANKA, visit Pohanka Nissan and Pohanka Hyundai on Route 1 in Fredericksburg, or better yet, log on to timpohankaforthepeople.com. And when we make a deal, I promise it'll be your lucky day. I'm Tim Pohanka, and I'm a leprechaun for the people.
Take Action News with David Schuster, Saturdays from 12 to 3 on We Act Radio, 1480 AM and weactradio.com.
Well, for me, it's always been, you report the facts. You report like hell, let the chips fall where they may. And the truth ultimately is what's going to sort of help our society and help all of us. I don't think progressives want a thumb on the scale on the facts. They just want the facts out there. You let the facts out, and progressives will tell you, we're going to win 70% of the time. You may quibble with the percentages or whatnot, but I think that's just sort of what progressives are looking for, and I think that's where this all sort of meshes with my interest as a journalist. And my interest as a journalist is report the facts. Here's what's going on. Here's what the facts say. Here's what history says. Here are the lessons we know we have learned. And let people draw their own conclusions. And I think what's so unfortunate right now in the world of broadcast media is I do think that a lot of conservative radio, certainly conservative television, they're not interested in facts. And that's ultimately where I think conservative media is going to have its downfalls, that Americans are hungry. They're just hungry for basic information, hungry for basic facts. You report like hell, you let the chips fall where they may. I think it's natural for all of us who care, who are passionate about politics, who feel like we have a sense about the difference between right and wrong. I think it's okay to to let that be part of your cover. It's important for all of us as broadcasters and journalists. In this day and age, we have to be authentic. You can't be the person who's up in the ivory tower that comes down and tells people, now you must eat your peas. No, it's all about, we all have personalities, and I think it's being aware sometimes of our own bias, but also being open to the idea that sometimes we're wrong. But we have a dialogue, and we have a passionate dialogue, and we care about this country, we care about this community, and I think that sort of passion is what carries us through.
Hear more from David Schuster, Saturdays from 12 to 3 on Take Action News, on We Act Radio, 1480 AM, and weactradio.com.
The conversation that some people just don't care to have. We now rejoin the discussion on The Rock Newman Show.
What a powerful exit into that break, crossing the bridge. Ayanna Gregory, folks, let me tell you what happened. During the break, I called my wife because I know what was happening. I know what was happening. She was yuck-up-ing, crying, snotting out in Las Vegas watching, and that's exactly what happened. She couldn't even answer the phone because she's a sweet, very emotional person, and I know that she had her enraptured in that wow. Going into character there, and that's exactly what you did. My God, thank you for that. I'm gonna tell you right now, that's one of the greatest moments that we've had on this radio show. And again, to my listening audience, this is what you get, and you're gonna get a whole lot more of it. And right now, some of what we have is the miracle once again happened. The miracle. We done talked up the line at the airline to find out whether or not the plane was going to land in time for us to be able to talk to Dick Gregory. And the airline told us that some senior officials at the airline told us the plane would not. It just go on with the show because the plane wouldn't land in time for Dick Gregory to join us. And right now we got Dick Gregory on the line. Dick, are you in the air or are you on the ground?
We just landed. I'm on the ground.
Are you still on the plane or are you outside or what?
I'm still on the plane.
All right. God bless you. God bless you. This is all this kind of stuff happening on the Rock Newman Show. And we have paramedics standing by, not for Dick Gregory on the plane, but we got paramedics up in Plymouth, Massachusetts for Lillian Gregory, who almost had a heart attack when she found that that when she was asked to do an interview. Lillian, are you okay? Mrs. Gregory, are you okay?
God, I'm just overwhelmed by what I heard. It was so beautiful, and I'm so glad you did what you did because I do not like to speak on the air or anything like that, but it was just fantastic.
And Lillian, truly, part of what I wanted this hour on this show to be about today was a tribute to you.
Oh.
When they talk about behind every good man, there's a good woman. Well, behind this man, Richard Claxton Gregory III, ain't just a good woman. It's a magnificent, wonderful, just superwoman, great queen. And we applaud you for all that you've done, for allowing your husband to belong not just to your family, but to the universe. He is someone who has tried to make the universe a better place. And I know he couldn't have had the impact, he couldn't have done the great things that he's done without your full support. Let me tell you, you are a very, very beloved person in this world, and I want to acknowledge it and to recognize it and to honor you. Lillian Gregory, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you. Oh, I appreciate it so much, and it's meant extremely so much to me. I just heard and how it played out, and I can't believe that Greg was able to call in because I knew he missed the flight and he wouldn't even get there.
That's right. Greg, how did you meet this beautiful woman? How, when, and where?
Well, let me just say this here. I can say one thing for sure. I don't know who you're talking to on this day for Mother's Day, but I know it's not Lillian Gregory.
And tell me why.
Because she don't do shows.
Well, we got a couple of miracles going on. You're on the ground, and Lillian Gregory is on this telephone, is on the airways on the Rock Newman Show.
Let me say
tell you something. She comes out once a year on Groundhog Day. She goes out, and we all gather around her for her birthday gift, her Christmas gifts, and Mother's Day gifts, but we will not see her no more. February the 2nd. Now, first, let me just say this. God bless you, Lil.
Thank you. God bless you.
And I want to ask you a question. What day did we get married on?
February the 2nd, 1959.
That's all. And we have 10 children, and all of them happened during February the 2nd. But we don't see her no more. Whatsoever. So I don't know who you talking to or where you found that lady that sounds like her. She sounds more like her than her. But I know it's not.
But you know it's not her. Hey, let me ask you, Greg. Ayana did something that I described as perhaps the most powerful moment that I've had on this show, when she went into character and reenacted her role in the play, Crossing the Bridge, and what was through the eyes of your daughters that she portrayed so extraordinarily well. If I could ask you to go back, what part? Greenwood, Mississippi? Greg, if I could ask you to go back to that moment in Greenwood, Mississippi, and share with us what you experienced and how you felt at that time.
Now you have to answer that again. Ask me that question again.
Okay. Ayana told us the experience and what your daughters felt in Greenwood, Mississippi. And I'm trying to see if you can recollect and go back to that moment and how you felt crossing that bridge in Greenwood, Mississippi.
Scared, scared. And I knew it wasn't going to happen to me because I owe white folks too much money. I knew the office account will keep me alive forever. It was, you see, it's almost like asking a soldier, how would you feel? You know you're going to die. But you're not scared because what you're going over there for is real. I mean, Lil and I, we went into areas where we knew we were coming back. There were times I told her kiss the children goodbye because we was going to Paris, London, and pick up the My Lai massacre films. That's how that war ended. Now, the government made like the New York Times book it, but I carried it to Herb Cutson and got back. And it was a whole heavy drama. And we sitting in a cafe with a friend of mine who was an intelligence agent from 4 different groups. We met with a friend of mine in Paris who was an agent. And I went to the men's room and came back. I saw this strange look on their face. And I said, what's going on? He said, we're going to kill both of them. I said, both of who? I said, the one is a CIA agent, and that was supposed to kill us in London. And the London folks wouldn't let them do it because they didn't want no riots on their hand because the amount of black folks they got living in London. And so that was the first thing. And did y'all see the movie Bank Job?
What was it?
Bank Job.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Me and Lil, the one who they hanged, me and Lil knew him well.
Oh, wow.
And some of the things he was planning on doing for liberation, I said, oh, not me at all. And Lil, you remember when Canon Collins, who is what the Pope is to the Catholic Church, he's that to the British Church. And he sent for us and asked us would we lead a march for South Africa to raise money to buy guns and weapons with for liberation. I said, no, we don't do that. We fighting for liberation in America. We're willing to die. we're not talking about killing and people killing. And I said, but what I would do, I would come here with my wife, and we would do a 4-day prayer vigil and a fast right here on the steps. And I mean, thousands of people showed up for that. And so then we hooked up, and some people told us that we could get see some North Vietnamese, and we did, and they showed us the My Lai massacre films, and I'm touching Lil and saying, you know, I can't believe they putting us in a trick like this, because there's no way they could get these American soldiers just taking pictures of them slaughtering people, not in battle. They just drunk and having parties, and then the North Korean lady said to me, and Lil said, it's a sad day. He said, when American soldiers at the end of the month have no money, they'll sell anything, and that's how we got these. And then took them to Paris, and I told Lil that when we left Chicago, it's worth what we fixing to do, but the possibility we will never make it back to America again. So kiss your children goodbye. And quickly, I'll let Lil tell you what happened, which was worse than anything we thought could happen. Lil,
can you please pick it? Can you please pick that story up from there?
Okay, so I, number one, I was pregnant, and number two, I, went to the airport, got on the plane. First, we plotted my plane from Paris to Montreal, and then Montreal to Chicago. So, I'm nervous, have this bag with me on the plane, and, okay, as soon as we get in our seats, immediately there were two men sitting behind me that offered me some candy, and immediately I'm thinking, oh my God, this is something, of course.
Because you now are carrying the video footage of the My Lai massacre.
With me, by myself, right. And then that happened. That was on the plane from Paris to Montreal. Then we switched from Montreal to Toronto, and then they got on that plane. And then from Toronto to Chicago. Don't you know those people on that same plane? And I was so scared it wasn't even funny. I just knew that I wasn't going to get home. Get to Chicago, get off the plane. When I came out of the airport, they're coming out of the airport. It was absolutely nothing. That just happened to be their route. I was just a nervous wreck, got in a cab and came home and just collapsed.
Oh my God!
It was just incredible. I mean, it was just
okay.
Incredible.
If I can fast forward to today, and then we're going to go back again. But if I can fast forward to today, Dick Gregory, you left Washington D.C. You flew into Albany. You're on your way up to Lake Placid, New York. Tell us about the award you're receiving today.
Yeah, but before that, the night before she left, we was in Paris in a restaurant. And one of these guys, he was probably the lead assassin on the planet. He assassinated about 13 people. And we sitting there, and when I come back from the men's room, I see this funny look on him and this other guy's face. And I said, well, man, what's happening? He said, we're going to kill both of them. I said, no, you mean the agents? He said, no, this other guy's my friend. I sent him over here. He looked at me and said, that's what you think. We've been bugging his phone for 2 weeks.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord.
And I said, well, then if you're going to kill him, then kill me and Lil, okay? Just like that.
And folks, Greg, I want to say to my listening audience here at 1480 AM, WEAC Radio, and that are watching literally through live streaming around the world, you are talking to history makers here. Dick and Lillian Gregory truly have been the backbone of much of the struggle of the civil rights movement and have put themselves on the line repeatedly. And when I say on the line, I'm talking about put their lives on the line repeatedly. Speaking of on the line, we have one of your sons, Johanse. Do we have Johanse on the line? Johanse.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining the Rock Newman Show. It's a family affair. It's a Gregory. It's a family affair.
That's right.
Up in her. I'm a poet too.
That's
I'm a
right.
poet too.
Come on.
Okay. Yo, Hansie, thank you so much for joining us. Hey, Greg, do me a favor and tell us about this award today. I understand it's the John Brown Award, and obviously John Brown, the great abolitionist. First of all, congratulations, man. You so deserve everything you get. Tell us about the honor.
Well, first, there's nobody on this planet that I admire more than John Brown. This planet wouldn't be the same if it wasn't for this John Brown, who's a white man.
Yeah.
Who led the raid, created the raid on Harper's Ferry. Harper's Ferry is in Virginia, and it was where the United States government manufactured their guns and their bullets. And they had 3 divisions of Marines there. John Brown went in there with 26 people, plus his 2 sons, and 5 black men. The first person to die was a black man named Dangerfield Newby. That's what the movie Django changed. And that was a black man that when they killed him, to this day I can't understand, but I'm fixing to tell you why. He had a love letter in his pocket from his slave wife. And if you've seen the movie, that was the one he was going to rescue. I can't understand why them white folks, as hateful as they was, not just because of what they were doing. They was raiding the United States military, and they fought off 3 divisions of Marines for 4 days. So you know it was something in there with them other than just themselves. But the first person to die was Dangerfield Newby. And when you saw the movie Unchained.
Yes, Django Unchained.
So
yeah.
Unchained, that's what that was based on.
Yeah.
So now what happened, can you imagine you as a father to sit and watch your 2 children get killed, liberating somebody else? He didn't make 1 nickel for liberating slaves. He didn't. He was nothing in it for him. So when you stop and think about, but his fear, you learn anything out of what I'm telling you now. Understand fear. Here's a man that there were no automobiles, never been invented. There was no trucks. But when you're scared, you don't use reasoning or logic. How can 26 people go through a battle to get 100,000 guns, to take them to 100,000 slaves, and white America, not just the slave owners, white America is seeing 100,000 black slaves being liberated with guns.
Yeah.
And those slaves do not know the difference of a white person who would never have a slave, white person that would.
Yeah.
But the logic was, how was they going to carry them?
Yeah.
How was 26 people going to carry 100,000 guns and 18...
Hey, Greg, that is such an incredibly fascinating story. You're getting the award, and it certainly is about all of your efforts at liberation. I'm looking at a clock here that's staring us in the face, and one of the things that we want to do here, and I'm so glad that Johanse is on and Lil is on, because we want to do something here with tomorrow being Mother's Day, and I'm sure you'll co-sign on this. Is Ayana has something for Mama, and I think we'll all enjoy it. Ayanna Gregory.
All right.
Okay.
So if we can, I don't know if we can play track number 2, and if not, I can just do it a cappella. This song that I wrote for my mom was for her 75th birthday, and it is entitled, Mama, This One's For You. Hey mama, I wrote this song for you, mama, so you can see you from my view. A woman so beautiful, a love indescribable. Mama, this one's for you. Mama so beautiful, Without you, what would I do?
Mama, this one's for you.
10 babies that she raised and they wonder why she had to be at 10 places at the same time. You can't tell me that this here woman can't fly. No, no. Soccer games, track meets, dance lessons, staying up late with me when I was sick or stressing. Let's be clear, she's the reason why I'm here, yeah. Hey mama, I wrote this song for you, mama, so you could see you from my view. A woman so beautiful, a love indescribable. Mama, this one's for you. Mama, so beautiful. Without you, what would I do?
Mama, this one's for you.
She's the rock, the power source they didn't see. She didn't want the credit, so she passed it down to me. But deep down, she's the root holding up this tree, yeah, yeah. And she don't talk about what she been through, and she don't brag about all the things she do. But you could see the light in her eyes. She talks soft but got a heart that goes from here to the sky. I love you, mama. Would never put no one above you. All the sacrifice you done for me. The path you paved, the lives you changed, the love you gave, the seeds you raised. My life you saved, what can I say? Mama, this is your day.
Hey, sweet mama.
No one could ever break the bond that we share.
Hey, pretty mama.
It's because of you that I breathe in.
Hey, sweet mama.
Time for you to come and sit on your throne. Beautifulest queen that I've ever known. Hey mama, mama, I wrote this song for you. So beautiful, so beautiful, indescribable. Mama, this one's for you. Mama, so beautiful. Without you, what would I do? Yeah, yeah. Daughter, sister, wife, mother, leader, healer, healer, lover, strong protector, mediator, peacekeeper, yeah. Miss Lillian, oh, Miss Lillian, yeah, yeah. I tell you, she's the one, she's the one, she's the one, she's the one, one. Yeah, yeah. Mama, that's my mama, strong mama, pretty mama, yeah, yeah.
We've got 20 seconds. Dick Gregory, Lillian Gregory, Johanse, Ayana, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Lillian, happy Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in the world. Dick, keep liberating, man. Keep liberating. We love you. God bless you. We'll see you the next time on The Rock Newman Show.
Thank you.
The Rock Newman Show. It's The Rock Newman Show.